Hey everybody, welcome to this month's Teams and Partners Snack and Learn session, where we're here to learn how we can bring in the third-party applications we use every day into our Teams workspace, just to enhance our own productivity. I'm Travis Anderson. With me is my partner in crime, Doug Moso. We're both modern work customer success managers in the retail and consumer goods business, where our job is to help customers drive Office 365 adoption through education and through business value. One key focus for us is Microsoft Teams and just sharing the platform value. So we're excited to talk about what that all means today. We're really excited to have Johan from Workday today to join us to talk about boosting self-service and sharing scenarios that should really resonate with all of you here today. As we look at a couple of housekeeping notes here, the session is going to be recorded. The session will be available hopefully later today, if not tomorrow, at that following link. We'll put that link in the chat window as well. Looks like I fast forwarded a little too soon. And if you can, please mute yourself. Sometimes things happen and you come off mute by accident, but we'll try to moderate that as well. So no barking dogs or kids running in. Someone's hitting the slides. Also, if you've got a question, raise your hands, use the chat. We do have folks from both Microsoft and Workday joining today to help moderate Q&A, so leverage that. Please don't advance the slides. It looks like someone's doing that, but that's okay. And then wanted to let you know that, so this is a monthly Snack and Learn session. We do this, we've been doing this monthly, and we encourage you to join us. We've had friends from Poly, friends from ServiceNow, and today with Workday. And again, we've got a survey that we'd love for your remarks to share kind of what you thought about today, and also where we can help you going forward. So let's move into it. And what you might be asking, what is the Teams platform? Well, it's so much more than just chat meetings, right? So if you think about it, it's really how you can connect conversations, the documents, the applications that you and your team work on, and then incorporate like business processes that can transform or modernize the way you work. And this results in getting things done faster and more efficiently. So as an example, perhaps you've co-authored a Word document in a project team channel, or transformed a manual business approval process with a Power App or the new Approvals app, or you've interacted with a self-service bot to get your pay and benefits information from Workday or ADP or the like. So this is how you can kind of start to think about Teams as a platform. I'm going to turn it over to Doug.
Yeah, and good morning, everybody. Again, I'm Doug Moso, Travis's counterpart here, and partly why we're excited to have you is to help you understand a little bit about why you may want to care. As we think about Teams platform, there's a lot to it, and we heard from somebody earlier in the discussion. I won't call them out here, but it just says it's a big thing to take on, and it can be. But this is the purpose of this event, is really to help you understand that the third-party apps that your organizations use every day can be lit up inside of Teams. And that's why we wanted to give you a few little snippets that will help you understand whether it's for your own individual use internally, or if you need to go to the powers that be or the leadership team and help them understand the value and the benefits of things that might help streamline the business. We have these here for you. So a couple of key items. I won't exhaust the whole slide here, but organizations we often find are struggling to drive adoption. Employees are losing time by switching between applications, and then security being ever present, it can be an increased risk of looking at available applications. And so the time that we have here today and throughout this series with Workday and others is to help you understand what is the solution and how you can address some of these challenges as you go forward in the business. And so take this for what it's worth. You'll have this available for you after the fact to lean on as we go forward. And from here, Johan, I'm going to send it off to you, unless there's any other questions before we jump in right away that people want to come off mute for.
And I'll stop sharing here, and Johan, go ahead and take over.
Great. Thank you, Travis. Thank you, Doug. You guys see my screen okay?
We can.
Sure can.
Excellent. All right. Very excited to be here. Thank you for the invite. Doug mentioned that we only have about 20-25 minutes to go through this, so I'm going to go pretty fast. So yeah, I hope you've had your morning coffee. If not, now would be a good time to have an extra sip, because we're going to go through this pretty quick. My name is Johan. I live and work in Victoria, BC. I've been with Workday for about 5 years, focused on a number of different products. If you want to get a hold of me, this is my contact information. Quick intro to Workday. For those of you that don't know the Workday platform, Workday is what I think is the world's best enterprise cloud for both HR and finance. We help some of the biggest companies in the world plan and execute and analyze both their people and their finances. We are very good at getting customers live, even some of the biggest customers in the world, and keeping them very happy and satisfied with our products. All fully cloud-based suites, and as I mentioned, we do that for some of the biggest brands and the biggest companies in the world, including more than half of the Fortune 500 today. So that was the lightning round on Workday itself. Obviously, the reason we're all here today is Workday for Teams. So I'm going to give you an overview of what the Workday for Teams app looks like. I'm going to give you a live walkthrough of the app. We're going to talk a little bit about roadmap, and we're going to talk a little bit about some things you can do to have a successful rollout of this app in Teams. If you have questions along the way, my colleague Wendy is standing by on the chat. So if you have questions along the way, please use the chat to ask them, and we'll have hopefully 5 minutes at the end to do some live Q&A as well. All right, so what is Workday for Teams? The whole goal for the Workday for Teams app is to give people really simple and delightful self-service right inside of Teams for the things that they most commonly do in Workday. So really common tasks in Workday, common data they would access in Workday. They can now have that right, under their fingertips, right inside of Teams. App's been live since the middle of 2020. We went live on May 1st on Microsoft App Source. We have about 75 going on 80 customers now live in production on the app of all different shapes and sizes. And the one thing I want to point out here before we jump into what the app is and what it does, it's actually really easy to get started. This is really, if you set aside an afternoon, you can get up and running with this. And I think there's really, immediate value for your employees, for your people managers to have access to Workday right inside of Microsoft Teams. Best of all, easy to deploy. There's also no additional cost. There's no extra red tape. There's no extra dollars you need to spend to get up and running with this. Before we jump in, just a quick overview of the different features. We're going to look at some dashboards that we have in Microsoft Teams. Those are currently in development. We're working with the Microsoft Teams organization on this very closely, but I'll give you a sneak preview of what those will look like. We expect to have those out in the next few months, so in this upcoming Workday release. We have a lot of quick actions in the app, so you can look up people, you can submit feedback, create expenses. Workday recruiting is in there. You can do time off balance, time off requests, and also in-app approvals. So a lot of quick actions, and we've really tried to focus on the things that people most commonly do in Workday itself. And last but not least, with the Workday for Teams app, you also have access to Workday Assistant. Workday Assistant is our bot, our natural language bot that can help people find things in Workday or very easily get tasks done from using natural language. So I'll give you a quick demo of what that looks like in Teams. Let me jump over to my demo here. Get this out of the way. All right, so I have a demo environment here of Microsoft Teams, and as you can see, we've added the Workday app here. It is pinned to the left-hand side rail, which is something that many of our customers choose to do, because Workday is an core HR platform system of record. Every employee would have access to it, so it makes sense to have it available right here in the side rail. So this is what the app looks like. All I have to do to get started is just, I can come to it at any point in time and just say hi. And the app will give me all the features that are configured and available for me as this user. So we'll jump into a few just to give you a feel for what the app looks and feels like. So I'll start with coworker lookup. And this will allow me to bring up the Workday profile for anybody in my organization. So in this case, in this demo environment, this is Steve Morgan. He's the CEO of Global Modern Services. I can see his Workday profile picture, his contact information. I can jump into Workday to get his full profile with infinitely more detail, but this is the digest. I have his contact information, his skills from Workday Skills Cloud, and I can see a reporting line. So I can see who Steve reports to, and I can also see who's on Steve's team, and I can quickly access the lookup cards for those coworkers here as well. So also a really easy way to navigate an org chart or quickly figure out reporting lines within your organization. I will go and submit some feedback, anytime feedback for Steve here. Thank you for the great town hall and your steadfast leadership. Excuse my typing this morning. Leadership. I can include a badge for him here. So I'll include the leadership badge, and I can set the visibility of this feedback as well. And I can very easily submit this right to Steve's Workday profile. And I get a nice notification, and Steve will also get a notification in Teams that I've submitted some feedback to him right here. Another really common thing that people do is enter expenses through the app. I can do it two ways. I can do it manually, and I can create a quick expense here in Workday. Or so these would be your typical expense fields. But I can also do this simply by dragging a receipt into the app. This is really handy on mobile. Quickly submit a receipt, and we will create a quick expense item for you, including some OCR. So we'll pull out the merchant and the date and the amount, and save you a lot of time on data entry. Let's bring the app back here. I'm just going to go back and say hi. I mentioned Workday Assistant. So if you go into the Workday desktop app, Workday Assistant is always right there to help you find something in Workday or quickly get a task done in Workday. It's got really solid natural language understanding. So there's a lot of different language you can use to interact with it. So here are some of the things that Workday Assistant can help you with, ranging from your direct deposit to tax to pay to all sorts of questions you may have. And with the Teams app, you can now make that available right inside of Microsoft Teams. So I'll just ask it a very common question. When is my next paycheck? It's always nice to know when you get paid. And it'll bring back my pay dates, and it'll guide me to the right place in Workday to go find that information, which in this case is the payslips page. So there's a lot more to this. There's also, in addition to using these UI buttons, I can just ask these questions using natural language, as I just showed you. So another example that Workday Assistant can help me with is time off. So I can ask it, what is my time off balance? And it'll bring me back my time off balance across all my different plans. It'll also give me any time off that I've already booked. So as you can see here, I have 16 hours on this plan. I have 69 hours on my regular plan, and I have some vacation already booked. Okay, so that's great. So I can say, let's take some time off. And because this is all natural language driven, I can say, you know, take vacation, take holidays, I need a break. There's a lot of different ways I can ask for the same thing, and Assistant is smart enough to understand those. We have spring break coming up here, so I'm going to take March 31st to April 2nd. But I can also use natural language. I can say next Friday or all of next week. There's a lot of different utterances I could use here. I'm going to go ahead and use my vacation plan. And it'll bring me back the summary of my request. And I can very easily go ahead and submit. So those are just a few of the different quick actions that we have available in the app. I'm going to jump back over to my slides. So as you saw, I just finished submitting a time off request. One of the things that we've started introducing in the app and that we're going to invest more and more in moving forward is notifications and approvals. So when I submitted that time off request you just saw, my manager would get a notification right inside of Teams, get a summary of the request, the person who made it, the dates, the plan, and some extra information. So my current balance, and if anybody else on my team also has time off scheduled at the same time. So for me as a people manager, that's really all I need to know to quickly make a decision on this and approve or deny that right in line. So that's one example of a notification and approval flow that we have in Teams. And this is a big area of investment. People managers really like having these reminders, these nudges right inside of Teams, you know, in the place where they're already doing their work. And we'll be investing in this more and more. So a couple of things that are coming soon. I mentioned the dashboards at the start. So we're going to start to move away from just having a chat-based interface with the app, and we're going to start approaching it more from a UI perspective. So we're currently working on a release where you'll have a home tab for the app, where you can have access to your quick actions. If you're a people manager, you can see all of your direct reports, including, you know, any upcoming time off they have, any work anniversaries, birthdays, all those kind of things that you don't want, big events that you don't want to miss. And you can see that in a calendar view as well. And you'll have some quick actions right there for all the folks on your team. So currently in development, but moving forward, you're going to see more and more kind of a UI-driven approach right inside of Teams, where we ship dashboards for both people managers and for individual employees with the things that are most relevant to them. A couple things on roadmap. I know we don't have a lot of time to cover this, but as I mentioned, you'll see the dashboards coming in the app. We're going to be adding more quick actions for things like time tracking, for Workday Help, which is a case management tool, for Workday Learning and learning content. As I mentioned, we'll be investing more and more in notifications and approvals. So things like pay, expense approvals, item requests and spend management, help cases, and also absence. And Workday Assistant, there's a big team behind Workday Assistant. It keeps getting smarter and smarter. The natural language keeps getting better and better. And the list of intents that it can support also keeps growing. So things like My Team, things like more Workday recruiting functionality, time tracking, talent, and spend management are all being added to Workday Assistant. And by extension, will also become available in Microsoft Teams. So that was your lightning round overview. How to get started. So where do we go from here? The main thing I want to get across is, like, this is really fast time to value. These are the steps you would need to walk through. So you need to do a little bit of tenant configuration on the Workday side to get this all ready. You'll need to add and connect the Workday for Teams app to your Workday tenant. You can do a little bit of configuration in terms of which features you'd like to enable or disable for your employees. And that's really it. At that point, you're ready to start testing. and you're ready to start thinking about how am I going to roll this out, how I'm going to announce the availability of the app. So really, 2 to 4 hours is all it takes to get through each of these steps. So if you set an afternoon aside, you can be up and running with Workday in Teams, and you can be ready for testing, and you can be working towards a rollout plan. We have some example rollout plans. We have some example messaging available for you as well once the app is available, that you can use as kind of the starting point for your communications. Last but not least, we have a really detailed step-by-step installation guide. It walks you through from point A to point B with all the steps you need to do to configure your tenant, add the app, and get started. It's available. You can see the URL at the bottom here. If you were to type this in right now, bit.ly/wday for Teams, you can download and access the installation guide there. And I can ask Doug and Travis to also share that out after the meeting today. Last but not least, for the folks on the call that are current Workday customers, we have a really active user group for this product on Workday Community. So that's a great place to join. Once again, there's a quick URL at the bottom here if you'd like to join right now. Great place to join, and also a great place to connect with other customers, or myself and Wendy and the rest of the product team, and ask us your questions and your comments. Thank you.
Johan, we certainly appreciate you walking us through that. I'd love to open it up. I know we've had some great questions in the chat. If there are any particular use cases that you'd like to identify from your organization that the team can address here today, or any other questions, frankly.
Hi, good afternoon. This is Shailesh Bohr from Sleep Number. There is one use case we are particularly considering or looking at is the clock in, clock out. We use the time management feature out of Workday, and this is one of those where people who are our frontline teams, they have to go and log into Workday just to clock in and then clock out, right? But they also have access to Teams. So this is a really simple but highly efficient use case for us.
Yeah, Wendy, do you want to take that one?
Yeah, I'd love to. So we will be adding the ability to place time blocks into Teams initially. So that you started work at 8 a.m., you're finished work at 4 p.m. We know that that's not clock in, clock out. Initially, we will have a guide intent, which is a deep link into Workday to clock in, clock out on a micromodal within Workday. And I understand that that still requires you to log into Workday. But we do have plans with the time management team to add clock in, clock out. So that is on our roadmap.
Thank you.
Certainly keep the questions coming, folks. And what I'll do is I'll just talk about next steps and where we go from here, but we'll have a little extra time for questions. But one of the key elements as we go forward with this series on Snackables and bringing partners to the table, we'd love your feedback. And there is a link to a survey. Travis just put it into the chat message here. And that's where we're going to be able to gather your feedback and make this series better. If it's a benefit to y'all or motivation, there is prize giveaways for those that do complete the survey. So you'll see that in a follow-on email for those of you that complete it, and we do appreciate it in advance. Secondarily, there is a link, and we'll get these all to you in a follow-up thank you note. But there is a click-through demo in addition to what you saw Johan present today. And in addition to that, we'll also have this recording available if you wanted to circle back and see some of the use cases that Johan walked through. Travis and I represent a group of customer success managers, and each of you that are on this call may have somebody that you're connected with. And if you have issues, challenges, please reach out to your CSM. If you have suggestions for other third-party apps that you'd like to see us cover on this event series, please let us know either in this chat or via the survey. And we really appreciate investing the time. The spirit behind the effort here is a quick 30 minutes to give you awareness and hopefully provide you the resources where you can take this and implement it in your organizations. And then the last piece is if you need help. And if you do need help, please raise your hand. I mentioned your CSMs. We have resources that can help you light this up in your organization, whether it's some of our own engineers on the Microsoft side or even partners that we can bring to bear to help support you if you find you need it. But really appreciate your participation today, folks. Thank you so much.
And I'll just say I've been blasting a bunch of messages in the chat window. Doug mentioned our Teams and Workday click-through demo that is publicly available. Anybody can join that and click through that. It's really cool. Feel free to share with others that might find value. Other housekeeping notes, the recording will be available by tomorrow up on our YouTube channel under that Workday snackable link. And then one more time on the survey, we'll throw a link to the survey one more time, but it's in the chat as well. We've got 5 prizes we're also going to raffle away for completed responses, and that's where you have an opportunity to share where you need help, whether it's through education, whether it's through deployment, integration, maybe there's an ideation or hack session that you're looking forward to kind of move this forward. So please leverage that survey, and we're happy to reach out. Any other questions that we haven't been able to hit yet? Let's see. Yeah, and Wendy, you are crushing Q&A for sure. Nice job. Thanks for handling all of that.
I have
You're
one
welcome.
question.
They're around, can I enable this for a subset of my population? And yes, you absolutely can. There's controls in security domains on the Workday side. There's permission policies you can create on the team side as well. So yes, you can roll this out to a subset of your population if you wish.
Got a minute or so left here. Anybody want to raise their hand or come off mute and say, hey, I need help, please call me?
Yes.
If you're shy, you can use the survey, but we're here to get you while we can.
This is Shailesh from Sleep Number. This is something exciting we found out, and we are in the process of actually working it with our HR team. The concerns which come from the HR team is, how do we set it up? Is it a security issue? What about access to the data, HR data? So there's a bunch of questions, and it is just change management, and we need some help with that.
Good. Well, you're in great hands because Travis is the CSM that works with Sleep Number, and
we know each other well.
Yeah.
And lastly, Travis, go ahead. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off.
No, go ahead.
Oh, I was just going to put a plug in. We are doing another one of these event series on the 18th of February with our good friends from Adobe. That invite will be coming out here momentarily, but we will look forward to your participation as we go forward in this series. Thanks, everybody. Have a wonderful day and a great weekend.
Thanks, Johan. Appreciate it. Great job,
Thank you.
Thanks, everyone.
Thank you.
Great stuff.
Thanks.